is CTV News.
Good evening, I'm Sanjay Maru. Thanks for joining us. We begin with a major showdown brewing tonight between one of Canada's biggest automakers and the federal government. Ottawa today threatening legal action against Stellantis after the company revealed it was shifting production of the Jeep Compass from Brampton to Illinois. CTV's Mike Lecouture kicks things off tonight.
We will make sure that we push the company and we hold them to account.
A letter from Melanie Joly to the CEO of Stellantis identifies legally binding commitments the car company made in the past as part of a deal with Canada and Ontario. If the company doesn't honor them, the federal government will exercise all options, including legal.
We've invested millions of dollars in that facility based on the commitment that they would be investing in a new model.
Ontario's premier is also digging in.
I'm not going to give them a penny because it was tied in to making sure Windsor and keep Brampton going.
Doug Ford says the head of Stellantis told him yesterday they were going to find a new model for the Brampton plant and move 1,500 workers to the one in Windsor. In a statement, Stellantis said Canada is very important to us, adding, "We have plans for Brampton and will share them upon further discussions with the Canadian government." Last week, U.S. President Donald Trump said both countries can't make cars, and Ontario's premier believes Stellantis' decision to shift $13 billion in investment is a result of all the trade uncertainty.
That guy, President Trump, he's a real piece of work. You know something? What my message to the Prime Minister when I meet him on Thursday is if you can't get a deal, let's start hitting him back.
Canadian vehicles to grow our auto industry.
Carney campaigned on standing up to Trump. However, in recent months, Canada has removed most counter tariffs on U.S. products, except for steel, aluminum, and autos.
Mark Carney's broken promises and weakness abroad are costing Canadian workers at home.
The minister responsible for trade with the U.S., Dominic LeBlanc, returned to Washington on Monday. He's working with Canadian negotiators to continue talks with their American counterparts on trade. Mike Lecouture, CTV News, Ottawa.
So how do auto workers here in Canada's auto capital feel about all of this? As CTV's Michelle Molesky explains, the union representing workers at Windsor Assembly says it is confident the Windsor plant is in a good place, but long-term fears still remain.
This social media post is how Stellantis announced its historic $13 billion investment in America.
Because success in America is not just good for Stellantis in the United States. It is good for all of Stellantis.
Workers at Windsor Assembly certainly hope so. In a statement to CTV News Wednesday, Stellantis officials confirmed the third shift is still coming to support increased demand of all versions of the Chrysler Pacifica and the new six-pack powered Dodge Charger Scat Pack and RT models.
And that's important, and I give credit to Stellantis for living up to the commitment. We bargained it in 2023. And they found a way to live up to it. That's good news.
Unifor Local 444 President James Stewart expects the third shift could create up to 1,500 jobs sometime in the first quarter of 2026. Thing is, Brampton workers will be offered the jobs first.
We have preferential hire language. So anyone from Brampton has the right today to put in a transfer to Windsor Assembly Plant if there's openings in the Windsor Assembly Plant. And they have a right to come before any new hires.
It's kind of a surprise.
Sam Fiorani of Auto Forecast Solutions is expecting Stellantis will retool Brampton for a crossover vehicle, but it will have to be a popular one to get all 3,000 workers back on the job. In the meantime, he doesn't think Windsor workers need to worry.
Windsor itself seems to be on an even keel at the moment. The product hasn't changed in Windsor. We're expecting the Charger to increase in volume as the gas-powered versions hit the market.
However, the union is warning if the upper levels of government don't fire back, Brampton will be ground zero for the Canadian auto sector.
This will open the door for other auto manufacturers to do the same thing, to up and move with no regard to commitments they make to the Canadian economy and the Canadian industry.
Michelle Molesky, CTV News.
We're learning tonight the PA systems, along with flight information displays, were hacked by a third party Tuesday evening inside Windsor International Airport with pro-Hamas messaging.
Hacked by Maru, hacked by cybersecurity. Netanyahu and Trump.
Windsor Airport CEO Mark Galvin says staff responded quickly, shutting off the recorded announcement and removing these images before returning to normal operations shortly thereafter. There were no flights arriving or departing at the time, so only a few people were inside the terminal. Transport Canada says it is investigating this incident along with similar cyber attacks at airports in Kelowna and Victoria, British Columbia, where the scheduling board stopped displaying flight information and again switched to messages in support of Hamas. The screens reading, quote, "Israel lost the war, Hamas won." The message also calling U.S. President Donald Trump a pig. To the latest developments now in the Gaza ceasefire, Israel's army says 2 coffins of deceased hostages have been transferred to the Red Cross and are on their way to forces in the Gaza Strip. Overnight, 4 bodies, believed to be those of deceased hostages, were released by Hamas and sent to a forensic identification center in Tel Aviv. Israel later announced one of the bodies, quote, "does not match any of the hostages." The return of all hostages, living and dead, was part of the ceasefire deal brokered by Donald Trump. The U.S. president telling CNN earlier fighting in Gaza could resume if Hamas fails to uphold the ceasefire deal. And while the Rafah border crossing is open today, Israel will reportedly only allow half the agreed number of trucks, down to 300 daily, into Gaza. Israel had delayed opening the crossing, citing the slow release of the bodies of the deceased hostages for its decision. Hamas has said locating those bodies is proving difficult. Back at home, a major development regarding the labor dispute at colleges across Ontario. A strike impacting campuses across the province, including St. Clair, appears to be over after the union representing full-time support staff reached a tentative agreement with the College Employer Council. No picket line could be seen outside the college this morning. 10,000 workers at Ontario's 24 public colleges had been on strike since September 11th. The details of the deal were shared with members this afternoon. The union also says support staff will return to work tomorrow. The union adding the strike helped the public understand the college system is being deliberately defunded and says plans include further cutbacks and outsourcing. Police are looking for a motorcycle rider wanted for careless driving and fleeing police. Officers in Windsor spotted an electric motorcycle traveling more than 30 kilometers over the posted limit. This was on October 10th in the area of Riverside Drive East and Bellevue. And when officers tried to stop the vehicle, the rider allegedly sped away, weaving through traffic and driving on sidewalks in a reckless and dangerous manner. Police say at the time of the incident, the driver was wearing all black clothing, a black and white helmet, and a pink backpack. The bike is described as a black dirt bike style electric motorcycle. An elaborate poppy growing operation was busted in northeast Edmonton with 4 people charged.
They can be used to produce a number of substances with significant analgesic effects to them, such as heroin and morphine and other such opioids.
Police discovered about 60,000 opium plants over a 2-day investigation. The field of poppies hold an estimated value between $160,000 and $500,000. Police were led to the property after receiving a tip. Well, when Windsor Essex switches to its new recycling system next year, only one kind of bin will be allowed at the curb. That decision has local manufacturer Herbie Kirby feeling a little left out, with more than 1,500 residents signing a petition urging officials to reconsider. Herbie Kirby's bin supplying waste has been in the region for 4 decades and wants its locally made carts included in the new Blue Bin program from Circular Materials. The company argues its hydraulic lift bins work just like the new ones and that allowing them would support local jobs and give residents more flexibility. But Circular Materials says only the new blue carts can be collected starting January 1st, 2026, because they're the only ones compatible with the new single-stream automated cart collection system. Residents can keep using their current bins until the end of next year, and those needing more room can request a second cart from GFL at no cost following an assessment. Essex County is eyeing the addition of 8 new paramedics to meet the region's growing population. Regional Council gave the initial approval for several new staffing positions, prioritizing EMS. They will require final approval, however, during the 2026 budget. This comes as a separate report sheds light on the state of response times. Response to sudden cardiac arrests is lagging behind targets, largely due to down staffing, call volumes, and resources.
So we got to make sure it's balanced. So some of the positions that you saw, 8 paramedics, 4 primary care, 4 advanced care, that's coming out of our master plan. It's calling out for 2 12-hour shifts next year. We're looking to jump on that and get that going. You know, it's a balanced approach. We got to make sure that we're growing equally.
Still ahead, is there such a thing as too many candidates in an election? The organizer of a candidates forum for those running in Windsor's West End says yes.
5K a day is back on 93.9
Virgin Radio.
Listen to Hannah and Johnny in the morning for your chance to win $5,000
every weekday.
5K a day.
Virgin Radio.
Looks like we're in for a cool overnight tonight as CTV meteorologist Gary Archibald joins me for a look at the forecast. Gary.
Sanjay, good evening, folks. As I talked about during the 6 o'clock weather forecast, we knew temperatures would be taking a significant nosedive. Today was actually above seasonal. We enjoyed 17 degrees Celsius. We are normally closer to 16, but the overnights at this time of the year, technically, that's when we usually find the lowest temperature. Sometimes it happens before midnight, late in the evening, but as of right now, we're pretty much under this kind of pattern. 6.3 degrees Celsius, the average. We could see 3 or 4 tomorrow before dawn, somewhere between 4 and, say, 5:30 a.m. So a chilly early morning for some might say. Satellite radar giving us no indication of any inclement weather. In fact, we are in the clear through the overnight, so it should be a chilly but beautiful starry night, early sunny morning. And then things start to break down. Area of high pressure moves out, displaced by low pressure, increasing cloudiness Friday evening, and we could see Saturday, combination of a couple of things, some buoyant air coming up from the southern U.S., support with the jet stream, and a cold front altogether triggers for some rain showers. Before we get there, as mentioned, across extreme southwestern Ontario, a chilly, if not at least a cool overnight temperature. Look at this. But a beautiful starry night, as mentioned. Stargazers take advantage. Got my telescope ready to go. And we'll still see some sunshine. I'm promising a beautiful day. In fact, a seasonal day in terms of temperatures, what we would expect in terms of the daytime high 16. And we'll get there around 4 to 5 p.m. across the region. So sunny for the most part. Fair, a chilly start, but not so bad in the afternoon. And then we'll actually rise up. Look at this, 19 degrees, fair weather for Friday, but I think Friday night after, say, 6, 7 p.m., increasing cloudiness, maybe even some showers before midnight, and that rain leans into early Saturday morning. Saturday afternoon clears and we'll go up to 21. But then we'll be in the mid-teens and more seasonal. Sunday, case in point, 16 and showers likely. Also for Monday morning. And then 17 followed by 14, Tuesday into Wednesday. So fluctuations as we would expect at this time of the year, but overall the general trend is for highs and lows, daily maximums and minimums to get lower with each day, as we would expect for the fall season. That's a look at your weather.
About 100 people packed inside a community center in Windsor's West End tonight to hear from candidates running in the Ward 2 by-election.
What topic regarding Ward 2 would you like to see on the first agenda of your term on council?
89X Afternoon host Dan McDonald serving as the moderator for tonight's All Candidates Forum inside St. Angela Hall ahead of Election Day on October 27th. 13 of the 15 certified candidates participated. taking questions that were submitted in advance by the audience and picked at random. Because of the whopping number of candidates, some questions were limited to yes, no, single-word answers. One organizer says having 15 people on the ballot can pose a challenge, particularly for undecided voters.
Because people have a hard time choosing. Why are there so many candidates? Because people don't realize what the job is. I think there's a lot of people in there that have no idea how fast they have to ramp up, how quickly they need to understand how council in the city runs, and how they need to inform themselves of what the key issues are.
Starting tomorrow, Central Park Athletics will host the Provincial Boxing Championships into the weekend. And as CTV's Bob Belichico shows us, Saturday night will feature the return of one Rosalind Kanty, who is now living and going to school in Scotland.
When I'm in Scotland, I'm very homesick. I miss my family and my dog.
Rosalind Kanty is back home at Border City Boxing, getting ready for the Provincial Championships. She left this summer to Scotland for Teachers College.
It's a 2-year program here and a 1-year program over there. So I did my 3-year program for concurrent ed here, and then I switched over, and now I'm doing my 1 year there. So in 6 months, I'll be a teacher.
Scotland is known for many things, including Highland cows, which is on Kanty's bucket list.
I really want to go to the Highlands because I want to see some cows.
Kanty wants to pet some Highland cows while channeling that Highland grit. Kanty has been hitting the books and boxing to stay sharp and strong. Her coach, Andre Georges, feels the Scottish influence has helped her.
Even though we've taught her that before, she heard it from him. It's like something different, right? Hearing it from someone's voice. So it's always good to have other coaches somewhere else, right?
I'm really blessed, really lucky to be able to do that, to go over to Scotland to get my degree, and while still boxing and training and getting better in boxing and in school.
Kanty is halfway through the Olympic cycle, and a win Saturday night in the final will help keep her moving in the right direction.
She's already jumped to that next level, and now she's got to stay here, and boom, in 2 years, for sure, she's going to be in the Olympics, 100%.
Bob Belichico, CTV News.
Canada's main stock index notched another record high today, helped by strength in basic material stocks. The TSX climbing 284 points. In New York, the Dow losing 17, the Nasdaq adding 148. The Canadian dollar is up just 1/100th of a cent. Gold gaining more than $38 an ounce, while oil falls 43 cents a barrel. A new partnership at Erie Shores Healthcare in Leamington is bridging a divide, connecting patients who do not have a family doctor with a primary care physician before they even leave the hospital. To make it work, Erie Shores is teaming up with the Essex County Nurse Practitioner-led clinic and Windsor-Essex Community Health Center. Patients will be screened at admission, and by the time they're discharged, they will have been referred to team-based care with a follow-up appointment booked. The goal, better outcomes, fewer emergency returns, and stronger continuity of care. This local solution supports Ontario's plan to ensure everyone in the province has access to primary care by 2029. For patients, it means leaving the hospital with a plan and a provider. Tennis players in Chatham-Kent can now keep their game going no matter the season. A brand new indoor tennis dome is officially open, and as CTV's Chris Campbell shows us, today it hosted some high school athletes competing in Swassa.
The sound of tennis is echoing inside Chatham's newest sports facility, a massive indoor dome giving players a chance to train and compete year-round.
I am beyond thrilled. This is like more than a dream come true right now.
The dome hosted today's Swassa tournament, bringing together student athletes from across the region.
We have schools from Windsor-Essex, Sarnia, Lambton, and then, of course, Chatham-Kent, all here playing tennis indoors. It's amazing.
It's nice. That means we can play tennis all year round and in the winters. And the courts in here are better than the ones outside. There's no cracks in the ground and it's new.
I didn't really have many expectations of it because I'd never heard of something like this. So I think it's really nice how they have it set up.
And to be able to have a gallery here as well, that people can sit back and they can watch and cheer on all the players. Like, it's amazing. Like, everyone that majority of people that are coming in here, they're like, I can't believe we're in Chatham-Kent right now. It is like a total wow moment.
The large white dome is more than 8 years in the making and represents the first phase of Chatham-Kent's newest place to play. Found within the 20-acre Bearline Park project near St. Clair College on the western edge of the city of Chatham, it has 4 tennis courts, pickleball courts, and a lounge, and will eventually include other amenities.
And to be a part of like the first phase for St. Clair Community Park as well, with St. Clair College donating the land, like this wouldn't be possible. So we're extremely thankful for everyone.
Officials say it's part of a growing effort by locals and Tennis Canada to expand indoor recreation options in the community, keeping players of all ages active through every season.
To be able to see everyone here and enjoying and playing, like it's top tier quality of tennis that we have brought here into Chatham-Kent. Like Chatham-Kent, it will be a destination for tennis players to come and play.
A ribbon-cutting event is scheduled for October 25th. In Chatham, Chris Campbell, CTV News.
And from one kind of court to another, the Supreme Court of Canada is marking its 150th anniversary. And to mark the occasion, its style has been overhauled, at least when it comes to the justices' robes. And it was all a Quebec company that was charged with redesigning the look. CTV's Geneviève Beauchemin traveled to the region to see the handiwork firsthand.
In the heart of the Saguenay, there's a made-to-measure shop called Rabat-Joie that got a tall order. It was entrusted with creating new robes for the 9 justices of Canada's Supreme Court. The mission was to thread the needle between tradition and renewal.
No fur. We use silk, pure silk.
The old robes, called Santa suits by some, had been the court's ceremonial vestments for a century and a half. This is how one justice described them.
They're awful. They're so hot. They're heavy. At some point, there's 2 or 3 layers of fur.
And so as the Supreme Court marked its 150th anniversary, it reached out to Rosalind Kanty, who started a career in creating jurist wear, outfitting her friends in law school.
Because the brand was bold, was original, and was different. So they wanted to speak about a secret project.
That launched Legalou and her team on a year-long project of designing and fabricating new robes. Miriam Herrera is the technical chief of the workshop, a seamstress originally from Nicaragua who had sewn wedding dresses and evening gowns for Miss World contestants before finding a new home here. It's quite complicated to work with the fine silk, she says, for the pattern to look flawless. Gone is the white fur and red suits. In are the black robes, elaborately embroidered with the court's crest, lined with red piping as a nod to the Canadian flag. At their debut earlier this month, Chief Justice Richard Wagner called the design modern, simple, distinctly Canadian.
And this is what was the core values for creating these masterpieces.
And now this yarn of the Supreme Court robes is part of the fabric of this region, a point of pride.
And now the shop here in the Saguenay is hoping to make a seamless transition to many more markets right across the country. Geneviève Beauchemin, CTV News, Saguenay, Quebec.
What began as a joke over a missing suitcase has grown into a fundraising phenomenon, raising hundreds of thousands of dollars. CTV's Natalie Johnson explains how it all started.
This is where it all started, with the funky flannel flower shirt.
It all began 3 years ago when Nick Regina lost his luggage on a trip to Texas and found himself with only the shirt on his back.
I don't regularly wear those types of shirts. I don't know what got in me that day, but that was the day I was wearing it.
We're going to see how the flower dress shirt holds up.
Instead of getting hot under the collar, Regina rolled up his sleeves.
I turned the camera around and I had fun on Instagram with the audience, and I said, hey guys, I'm not going to take this shirt off until my luggage gets here, and you could dare me to do whatever you want me to do in it. We're going to the pool. Guess what I'm wearing?
So began 3 days of flowered flannel fundraising.
Fully committed to this shirt.
Collecting donations for the Canadian Cancer Society in exchange for daring to wear this same shirt for every activity.
Is that the outfit from the pool?
Yeah.
Wow.
For 3 days we were having a lot of fun with it, and then my luggage finally arrived, and everyone didn't want me to change, right? So I said, okay, I'll run the campaign for 30 days.
An annual tradition was born. The funky floral shirt morphed into something a bit more corporate, and Support the Blazer began.
Year 3, we raised $102,000 for Waves of Changes for Autism, and I wore the 101 Don Cherry blazer.
Each year now, the same outfit of the day every day for 30 days. A social media stunt that brings in not just laughs, but thousands of dollars for local charities.
It's really helped to advocate for our mission and be able to expand support to help families through their child's medical journey.
Raising funds is very difficult, and so having the opportunity to be affiliated with this great organization is incredible.
This is this year's blazer.
This year, for the first time, Regina is joined by 65 others dressed in their best, also wearing the same blazer day after day.
Why not, right? We're just spreading love, raising awareness, and raising money for people that are in need.
With $250,000 raised already this year, the Blazers are bringing in big bucks.
This is where this blazer will go in this glass case.
Fashion-forward fundraising. It all began with an off-the-cuff laugh over lost luggage. Natalie Johnson, CTV News.
And Gary is back with a final look at weather. Gary.
Sanjay, I'm promising a clear, calm, but chilly overnight. 4 degrees. Some areas might even see 3 degrees. Can't rule out some frosty patches across parts of southern Ontario. I think we're in the clear, but the rest of the southern tier of our great province is getting colder by the day, no doubt, as to be expected. But there's some good news. A seasonal afternoon high of 16 under sunny conditions for the most part for Thursday. Friday's faring warmer still to 19, up to 21 after morning showers. A sunny Saturday afternoon expected. But then we'll get into some rain. I think Sunday is a gray, wet day, and bleeding into Monday morning. 16, 17, and 14, the 3-day stretch, the succession, or progression rather, of temperatures over the 3-day start to next week. Wherever you are, enjoy a good night's rest, your weather as always, and we'll do it all again tomorrow. Good night.
Thank you, Gary. Have a great night. And finally for us, a video from an animal removal company has gone viral.
All right, buddy, hang on.
Over the weekend, this chubby raccoon was stuck and needed a little help to get out of a hole at a house in London. A worker from Forest City Wildlife Control gives the critter a rope and gently pulls it out. The company says the video has been viewed online, get this, more than 12 million times. My goodness. Well, that is your news for tonight. Thank you again for watching this edition of Windsor's News Leader. We'll see you right back here tomorrow at 6 and 11.